By 7:37, we see Tyrion again, and I was like, Tyrion, you should get a trial. But was it Sansa who poisoned Joffrey? How could she have acted alone, and no one knew but her? And he was like, why didn't she tell me if it was her? Maybe it was somebody else, but why, even if it was her, why did she not tell me? But we learn that he will probably get a trial, but Sansa's not there, and they're wondering why. Maybe she did it, and now she's nowhere to be found. So right now, Tyrion's in a hard place, because I was like, you have to find more witnesses besides Sansa, but it's hard when everybody saw you fill Joffrey's cup. So everybody thinks that he killed him. And I was like, how is that even possible? He had his cup, everybody sees it that read it, but how is he to get poison and put it in the cup? Nobody saw him do that if it was him, but could it be Sansa? Nobody knows for sure. So they're just blaming Tyrion right now, but they're still looking for Sansa, so it could be her. We don't know yet by this point. So I was like, wow, Tyrion, you need to think of something quick before they put you to the sword. Sansa's gone, nowhere to be found. No one is coming to be your witnesses. Time is running out for him. So by 7:53, we see Sir Barristan of House Selmy. I'm not sure whose chapter this was in, but I was like, I like how they showed the long description of Sir Barristan of House Selmy. I would like to see the real book one day. It's his description in the book, and it's the one that Joffrey hacked to pieces. It's one of those kinds of books. I was like, it's funny how Jaime feels about his description in the White Book or the Book of Brothers. He feels like he isn't worth much, or his life doesn't mean much. And I think it is Jaime's chapter. So he kind of feels bad. He's like, I only have a description that's only about this much. And Sir Barristan has one that is like a page long. It's like this much. And, it seems like that Jaime hasn't done anything. And so he kind of feels bad about it. So it's pretty funny. By 7:55, we're almost to page 800. So I was like, scandalous drama. Why did Sansa leave after Joffrey went down? That everybody was talking about, Why is Tyrion taking the blame because he just gave him the poison cup, but he didn't poison Joffrey? When did all this poisoning take place? Maybe Sansa is to blame. So by this point, they're blaming Sansa now. But they still have Tyrion there. It's like, what are they going to do now? Is it Sansa? Is it Tyrion? We're not sure by this point. And I was like, by 7:57, what? Tommen is 8 years old? If Tommen wants you to saddle his horse, obey him. If he tells you to kill his horse, come to me. That's with one of the characters that quotes this line. I just thought it was funny because it shows what a kid he is, If he's telling you that he wants to kill his horse, but if he tells you something else, come get me, because he's not making the right decision. So I thought that was pretty funny. And that was Sir Meryn that quoted that line. So I think this one is in Jaime's chapter, and we're on 760 now. I was like, more good stuff now. Brienne could get accused of Lord Renly's murder. She may get the axe. Didn't see this coming. But this was a long time ago, so we're not real sure of what's going to happen to her yet. And I was like, Renly thought she was a weird person, a woman dressed in man's mail, pretending to be a knight. This is at 762. And then by 767, Sir Dontos could have been the one to poison Joffrey. Even Sansa's now believing this. She may be off the hook now, so it could be him. But we're not sure if he was even close enough to actually have this happen. Maybe he did it a lot earlier in the day. We're not sure. So we're not sure what's going on, who actually poisoned him. So I was excited just to see. I was like, who is it? They're jumping around telling Tyrion, maybe it's Sansa, maybe it's him now. Sir Dontos, who could it be? We'll have to wait and learn. So by this point, we're at 769, and we're talking about Sir Dontos. And I was like, Sir Dontos couldn't have been the one to poison Joffrey. There was someone else there that night at the wedding feast. Willis Tyrell. Was she fixing Sansa's hairnet? This just keeps getting better and better. Who will be the one to blame for Joffrey's death? So now they're blaming this person. And I'm not sure who Willis Tyrell is. I'm not too sure, like, because I do remember the seasons, but I'm not sure like who this person is, like the actual person that plays it. I'm not too sure like when this person came into the scene. By 769 we see Marjorie. I was like, what? Now they want Marjorie to wed Tommen? He is too young. This may be in his future, but by that time Marjorie will be a lot older than he will be. That's way too weird. By 769 we see Pettyr, which is Littlefinger, by the way, and I was thinking he was two different people at that time because they didn't make that little connection until you see him in a chapter and they're talking about the same person and they're using the two separate names. So I was like, wow, Pettyr, that was low. This wasn't supposed to be about you. It was supposed to be about Sansa meeting her mother's sister, and you go and marry her because she wants to. What is wrong with everybody pushing away the Starks? I was like pretty pissed off by this point, and I was like, somebody needs to die because the Starks need to reign again. Come on. So by 774 we see Lady Lysa, and that is who Pettyr gets with. And I was like, Lady Lysa now knows who Sansa is after Pettyr tried to give her a fake name of Elaine. Lysa saw that she looked too much like her mother Catelyn, so she knows who she is, and she informed Sansa of her mother's death. She said Tyrion had told her that the Freys had murdered her at the Twins with Robb. And I was like, no, Lady Lysa, why would you want your son, Sansa's cousin, Robert Arryn, to wed Sansa? That's too weird. I know you're glad that Tyrion preferred his mistresses better than Sansa, but it's not a good idea to have Sansa wed her cousin. Plus, he's still young. That's kind of weird, you know? By 786 we see Jon again, and I was like, another battle is coming your way, Jon, but who could it be? Wow, Jon, your people, the men of the Night's Watch, have found out about what you've been doing. They know you took a woman into your bed, you agreed all that time ago, so now he's being accused, and it seemed like everybody's being accused by this point. And I was like, Jon is not one of those characters to be accused, and I kind of felt bad for him by this point. And by 788 we see Lord Slynt. I was like, Lord Slynt, you evil vile man, you better watch yourself. Do not talk about Lord Eddard Stark that way. It's a good thing Jon got a little bit of revenge on Sir Alistair's throat. Even though he did spend some time with the wildling, doesn't make him one. Jon is a good man, so what if he acts like one? You just watch, he will take you off the ground again. Jon is stronger than you know. He is a Stark. Eastward or not. So he is a Snow, but at the same time he is kind of considered a Stark in a way because he is protecting his people, and he seems more of a people person now. So by page 791 we see Tyrion again and Shae. And I was like, huh, Shae is writing out Tyrion to Prince Oberyn? Didn't see that coming. She talks about how she used to be a proper girl when she was Sansa's maid. She always meant to be proper, but Tyrion turned her into his mistress and made her do things to him she never wanted to do. I wonder what will happen to Tyrion now, and how he used to tell her how he planned to take out Cersei and his father, Lord Tywin, so he could be Hand. So it kind of seems that Tyrion had a little, thing up his sleeve that he was going to be king one day and everybody else was going to be dead, so it didn't matter, and that he would run again and be who he is, and he would just rule over everybody. And I thought that was kind of like mean in a way, but I still like him as a character. But by that point I was like, can he be trusted really, And like by the end I kind of still liked him, so he's still a good character though. By 791 we see Prince Tommen, but before Tommen got too old he would kill him to take the crown for himself and sit the Iron Throne. So that's kind of what's going on right now. So by 799, I don't know if you guys remember The Princess Bride. Oh my god, there was a funny scene in that movie that reminded me of something that happened in the book. And I was like, Did George R.R. Martin get the idea from that movie? And I think he did, or I don't know what happened first. I think the movie got the idea. I can't be too sure because these books came out a long time ago. And I was like, this part is too funny. It reminds me of a scene out of The Princess Bride when the man says, I am, and I couldn't remember his name, so if you guys can tell me right here and below. I was like, you killed my father, prepare to die. That was his scene in the movie. And I was like, in this book, the same thing happens to Sir Gregor Clegane as he battles Sir Oberyn. He says, you raped her, you murdered her, you killed her children. And I thought that was so funny. He just kept repeating that over and over and over, just like the movie. So it's then that Sir Gregor has this nerve to tell him to shut up, you know. He was pissed off by that point, and I just laughed. I had to like stop the audiobook to like laugh because it was so funny. And I was laughing through this whole part. It's just one of those things that you don't really see coming, and it does remind you of the movie, so I was like, it's funny. So by this point, now we're at page 800. I was like, alright, Sir Clegane the Mountain went down. Prince Oberyn, you brave man. I can't believe you just put the sword through Clegane and then dusted off like it was nothing. Now there's a champion. That was an epic fight. And I was like, what? Clegane killed Lord Oberyn? He must be a really big man. Clegane, I hope someone takes you out or you just die by your wound. You're an evil man. By page 813, we now see Jorah Mormont again. And this is where he's with Daenerys and her crew. And I was like, Jorah Mormont, you traitor, lying rat. How could you do that to Dany? If Drogo was alive, he would have killed you by now. 3 treasons, once for blood, once for gold, and now for love? How could you? Get out of Dany's sight. She doesn't even like you anymore. Traitor, selling her out to her enemies? You should be happy you're alive and that she didn't have her people take you out. She will never forgive you, you big liar. I was like, now he's betraying her for love. I think he actually kissed her. So he was like, I always have loved you, you know, it hasn't changed. So I was like, I don't like him anymore. I never did. And I never trusted him because he always had that look in his eye like he was going to do something. So yeah. So by page 817, I was like, poor Dany is turning into Arya. Everybody's betraying her and leaving her. She misses Drogo and at times her brother and her son that never was. Hopefully things get better for her. At page 820, I was like, cool, Arya walks into Jaime's chapter and she is wed to Lord Bolton's son, Ramsay, who used to be a Snow. Now she's happy. That actually doesn't happen. It's actually somebody else, which I'll be talking about. By 825, I was like, Cersei, you dirty woman, he is your brother. You need to understand that. Just protect Tommen, even though everybody has left your side, does not mean you can take advantage of Jaime. Control yourself, woman. She's all up on him and she's like, you're the only one I have. I just have you and I just want you. And I was like, disgusted reading this chapter. By 827, I was like, wow, turns out Arya didn't walk into Jaime's chapter. It was a fraud trying to be her. No wonder Jaime didn't recognize her. She was a northern girl dressed up to look like her. So I'm still wondering who this is and I can't wait to see in the TV show. So I'll be watching it this coming March when I get it. Well, actually in April because that's my birthday. But I can't wait for April because that's when the new season starts. So by page 828 is when something awesome happens to Brienne. And I was like, how cool is that? Brienne gets a sword from Jaime. That was once the steel from Lord Eddard Stark's sword. It's one piece of 2 that were made from 1. She will be defending his daughter with his own steel. You better take that sword, Brienne, or I will. That's too cool. I couldn't believe that. I was reading it, I was like, I had to read that again because I was like, any sword that was Lord Eddard Stark's sword, that is pretty cool. And I was like, it could have gone to another king, it could have gone to somebody else that's more well known, but yet Brienne gets it, and Jaime's like, do you even realize what kind of steel this is? And I think it's Valyrian steel that they were talking about. And I was like, they're giving it to you. I was like, you better take that, or I'm gonna jump in this book and take it from you, you know? I really wanted, I was like, I can't believe you're just gonna throw it away, but it turns out, she goes, okay, you know, she realized that it was a special sword made of the steel from Lord Eddard Stark's sword, so I thought that was pretty cool. So by the next page, 829, we see Jaime. And I was like, Jaime, if you want to be remembered for greatness, it's time you do more with yourself. Don't complain about how much is written on the pages of the white book. You'll get there in time. He's still complaining about how he's not good enough, and how this other guy has this whole page of stuff that's about him, and I was like, dude, quit whining. By 829, I was like, don't worry, Jon. Be who you are. It doesn't matter if they think you're a traitor of the Night's Watch. Ygritte may be gone, but you still need to stay strong. So he's kind of getting kind of restless, kind of tired, but he still wants Ygritte by his side, but that will never happen because she passed away. So, and by 836, I was like, there it is, the Horn of Winter. It's what you've been searching for, Jon. The Joram once used to wake the giants from the earth. By 836, I was like, there it is, the horn. It's what you've been searching for. And I must have put it again. So by 837, we see Mance Rayder and Jon. Mance Rayder is giving you a deal, Jon. I would take it. All you have to do is go to the wall. Tell the man to open the gate and let the wildlings pass. If they do, he will give you the horn. And the wall doesn't have to come down. And it will stand for years to come. So if the horn is to be blown, the wall will come down and kill a lot of people that are on the wall. So it's his job to get the horn. And if he doesn't, a lot of people are going to die. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like that was something that kind of made him feel like a leader, you know, that he had to get it. Because by this point, he's kind of grooming himself to be the leader of the Night's Watch. So by 838, I was like, Jon, what are you doing? Don't throw all these laws at the wildlings. They are offering you the Horn of Winter. Don't argue with them. Take the offer. And he's kind of confused right now. It just seemed. I was like, Jon, what are you doing? Seriously, just take the horn, or they're gonna kill you or something, you know. And by 842, I was like, well, just as Jon was done talking to Mance about the horn, another horn sounded outside. But this wasn't the Horn of Winter. It was another horn, the Outrider's horn. Something was coming, but what? An army of men in armor, but who were these men? The last thing Jon hears is them calling for Stannis loudly. It cuts off right here. I must know who these people are, and their banners and are unknown to Jon. So I never really found out who these people were, and he kind of doesn't know who they are because of all the banners that he sees. They're kind of like unknown places. So they're not really there to hurt Jon. He just kind of got freaked out, and he didn't have an army ready just in case that he was killed. So I was like, it was a really good chapter. It was a cool battle. Like, they were kind of coming in from nowhere and he wasn't ready. So I was like, I wonder who it's gonna be, you know. I was like, is it gonna be somebody that he knows? We have no idea by that point. By 845, we see Arya barely finds out about Joffrey's death from Polliver. Her brother was dead too. What did it matter? She thought now. So she's like, come on, you know, now you're telling me that he's dead, and she's kind of freaked out. It's like, who else could be dead, you know, by that point. By 845, at the same time, she finds out about Sansa marrying Tyrion. She thought to herself that Sansa would never marry him, and she didn't even know how to do spells to kill Joffrey. And I was like, yeah, she doesn't, you know. And they're still accusing her of killing him. So Sansa marrying Tyrion is just like weird to her, that she would never do it, you know. And like, even in my eyes, I was like, that's not something she would do. So she's kind of like freaked out. She goes, what's been going on? She goes, she's been gone for I don't know how long, you know, and she's been just out with everybody else, and she's not like knowing what's going on. So I was excited just to see what's going on with Arya next. By 849, we see Arya again, and I was like, Arya, you crazy little wolf, you stabbed Sandor Clegane and you tried to throw the dagger at the tickler. You're so crazy and brave. She got like kind of wound up because somebody else was trying to kill him. So I was like, that was so intense. You go, she-wolf. So it's so weird for Arya to leave out Polliver and the tickler and Joffrey as she was just about to go to sleep under the stars. But still, she had Sir Gregor the Mountain, Dunsen, Rafe the Sweetling, Sir Elin, Sir Meryn, and Queen Cersei. So that's all she had left to talk about because the rest of them were dead. So she was kind of happy about that, but she's like, it's still weird because she feels that they're still alive because she hasn't seen them. So she's like, it just felt weird to her because she needed to see them in real life. So by page 852, I was like, Arya, you escaped the Hound. What? How did she escape him? You know, it kind of seems that the Hound let her, and she was on her horse, and it kind of seems that she was brave now. And I was like, she deserves to be free. Finally, after all this time, I was like, what? They're not trying to go and capture her, you know? Trying to run after her or on their horses? But it turns out she does escape and she gets to where she needs to be. By 854, wow, Valar Morghulis. This is where we learn what this word means. Valar Morghulis, or as a ship's captain said, it's Valar Dohaeris, and that gets her a cabin in the ship she came across to take her home. How lucky she remembered the words Jaqen told her all that time ago. So she's been saying this for the longest time. She's thinking it's to kill all these people that she doesn't like, and it turns out it was something that would help her, like along the way. So I was like, you go, Arya. 863. Who will be the new leader of the Night's Watch? We're not too sure. This is where this whole scene starts. So now we're at page 870, and I was like, how exciting, Jon. Take the offer Stannis has given you. You were meant for this. You have been a nobody for too long. It's time you take your rightful place in Winterfell. Wed Val and you shall have Winterfell. Do it, Jon. So this is what those people that were going to give him the horn, that's what they wanted. And I was like, he's trying to put this off like it's nothing, you know. Take the horn, that's what they're offering. Wed her, he'll get the horn, you know. And I was like, Jon, you're just kind of putting it off? What the heck is wrong with you, you know? By 880, this is where we see Tyrion. It's like, wow, Tyrion, you're a feisty little man. First, you are locked up in the lowest part of the castle where Ned Stark spent his last days. And this is where my heart kind of dropped, and I was just like, oh, it kind of takes you back to book 1 and season 1. Then you see Lady Shay again, down below in the lowest part of the castle locked up. What's about to happen now? Oh, yeah. Then you are let go and find your father and get revenge on him by shooting him with an arrow for calling your mistress Tisha a whore, and now Lord Tywin is dead? That was awesome. I was like, he finally like had the courage to do it. I was like, did he just shoot his dad with an arrow? And that's probably one of the coolest parts in the book. It just shows that he had enough of him, and I've had enough of him. So I was like, goodbye, Lord Tywin, nobody's gonna miss you, along with Joffrey, so go and be with him now. Nobody likes you, go away. So I thought that was pretty cool. We're now on 890. Who will be the leader of the Night's Watch? If a leader isn't picked soon, King Stannis will pick Sir Dennis. I wonder who will end up leading the men. By 895, we see Jon again, and this is a cool chapter. I was like, Jon's dog has been gone for so long, Ghost. And I was like, Ghost came back to Jon. I never thought that we would see him again. I would have gone crazy without my companion by my side. It's so good to see that he came back. So I thought his dog was never going to come back because he had always wondered, you know, what if Ghost was here and like, would he help him? And finally he came back, and I kind of forgot about it. I was like, oh yeah, he's been gone for a long time. And then, so it says that he comes like kind of prancing out of the woods, and we see him kind of like running into to meet Jon. So I was pretty happy about that. By 899, we see Jon is the new leader of the Night's Watch, just because he came walking into the castle and his men had been waiting for him, and they just automatically just picked him just because he walked in, and he kind of knows what's going on. So now we're heading towards the end of the book. This is page 904. This chapter is so well done, I could see it. Sansa building Winterfell out of snow, outside of the Eyrie. Then Littlefinger comes walking up to her to help her. This is so amazing. There is so much magic in this chapter. Sansa being herself again, like she was kind of raising Winterfell from the dead, it just seemed like. And she's building the castle out of snow, and I can't wait to see this in the season. I was like it just kind of feels like you're there. It's really neat, this chapter. And then by 9:05, Littlefinger does something really stupid and his wife sees it. And I was like, oh no, Lady Lyssa saw Sansa kissing Pitire, Littlefinger. I wonder what's going to happen now. So Lady Lyssa now thinks that Sansa is about to kiss Pitire. Even in the past, it turns out that Catelyn kissed him too. So she goes, you kissed him and I saw. So like in the past, her mother did do it too. And she goes, you're just like your mother. And what ends up happening to her, I was like, oh, thank God. So by 9:14, I was like, Lady Lyssa, you get what you deserve. Littlefinger, you crazy man. You pushed your wife to her death. You'll never grab Sansa's hair again, and you drunken old woman. You know, she's supposed to be the nice one, and she goes and pulls Sansa's hair just because she thinks that she can do it. And I was like, that was like uncalled for, you know. I'm glad that she went down the well, which I think it's the well, yeah. And so, and then it says that you can't even see the bottom, so, and then you can't even hear her yelling, so I thought that was pretty funny. By 9:22, I was like, wow, didn't see that coming. They hung Pitire, Littlefinger. He always was a creepy man. Didn't really like him much. And that is where the epic kind of scene comes into play right here. 9:24, wow, is all I have to say. Merritt is dead now, and he saw a person in a hooded cloak before he died. When he saw who it was, he was shocked because he saw her die. It's in the epilogue in the last part of the book. And I was like, why is this even in the back of the book? They're talking about Merritt. I was like, who is this? And then they say he gets hanged, and this person that is in the hood was supposed to be dead a long time ago. Lady Catelyn lives. Oh my God. I was like, that's the thing that I thought about the whole day after actually reading this book. Oh my God, I was like, what's going to happen in the next book? I hope she does something to somebody and everybody gets, you know, it's going to be awesome. I hope she gets revenge on everybody, and I hope she finds Arya again and all her family comes together, I hope. So, thank you for watching, guys. Sorry this was a long video, but I really enjoyed this book. It's by far my favorite, and now I'm losing my voice. So, yeah. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This has been the book review of A Storm of Swords, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And I will see you on the next one. This was the book. So, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye. I hope you enjoyed it. See you later.